Hello, folks. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about safety, right, in general, and how people believe in themselves a lot, and how it can pose like risk to their safety, their confidence in them, and like how much they have, like how much they're courageous or the confidence in their skills or whatever, right? Those kind of stuff, or a trust in their set of skills and whatnot. For example, I know a lot of people who say that they can drive their vehicle really fast and still carefully, like for example a motorcycle or even a car, right? They are like, I can drive really well. I don't think anyone has to be scared. Like for example, if I'm the pillion rider and the person who's driving is driving a bit fast, but they're a skilled and very experienced driver, and they're going a bit fast but not too fast, and I'm a bit scared, and they're like, chill, I drive very carefully, I'm not a rash driver. It is true, they basically are showcasing or not intentionally, probably showcasing or probably showing off intentionally or unintentionally their skills and their confidence in their skills and their experience and themselves, that they can ride very safely and securely without causing any accidents and all, right? So this is just one example, by the way, so we'll go for more examples. So this is just one popular example that I can easily give, right? So they are like, I am not a rash driver, so you don't have to worry. And they have never had an accident, or they've had probably very, very minor accidents, max and whatnot, right? Now the thing is this, right? Confidence, self confidence, everything is great, right? But then you should also understand that sometimes you're giving chance to some things, right? When you drive fast, there is a chance that when something goes wrong, if something goes wrong at all, God forbid, if you believe in God, let's just use that term, God forbid. Let's just say that it's an unfortunate situation, and we hopefully don't want that, but then you just can't depend on hope, right? Things can happen anytime, anywhere, for anyone, right? So let's say on the road there are other people driving on the road. That's the thing about roads, for example. And even in life, there are other people in life, right? It's not just you, and not just other people. There are other things around you in life, non-living things also, not just living things, right? So anything can move around and happen and whatnot. And in roads, let's say someone else is driving rash, and they can actually have an impact on your driver who is driving safely and securely and not rashly but still a bit fast, or maybe medium fast or whatever, right? Medium speed or whatever, and not very slow or okay slow speed. And when there is an impact, let's say there is an accident, the thing is, I believe that when the speed is really high, the impact can be really bad, right? The the injuries can be really bad. But then let's say you're going slow, depending on the speed of the other vehicle or other person who's coming at you, maybe the impact is lesser. But both of you are going really fast, I think the impact might be higher, right? So when you go fast, I think that is the risk over there. This is not just with the other people. Let's say you are driving on sand or water by mistake, right? And you slip off. When you're going slow and when you slip off and skid on the road or whatever surface you're on, let's say it's just totally sand, let's say, and you skid off and fall, the impact is pretty low when you are going slow or medium speed, whatever, right? But if you're going really fast, the impact can be really, really bad, right? So what people don't understand is, their confidence is great, but they're also allowing a lot of chance for bad things when things go bad, right? Of course, only when things go bad, and you don't want to give that chance, right? No one wants to take unnecessary risks. These people don't understand the risk. The probability of risk is probably low, right? The probability of the risk happening is very low, but the risk in itself is pretty high. Like, in case the risk happens, then it's pretty high. Like, if you get an injury, it's very bad. If you don't get an injury, all good, right? When you're going fast, if you get an injury, it's really, really bad. But if you're going slow, when you get an injury, it's pretty okayish. You can manage. It's a bit lower, I think, right? So it really depends. Even when you're going slow, even if you're going slow, maybe the impact is really bad due to some reason and whatnot. Then imagine what will be the case if you go really fast. I don't think the case of like you going fast and something going bad and then you not getting hurt much is pretty low. So it's all about probability and risk, right? So I understand the probability of things going bad is pretty low, but then if things go bad, they go bad really, really bad when you are actually blindly depending on your self confidence or someone else's self confidence and doing some risky stuff, like for example going a bit faster on a road, or like on some other surface, say sand or whatever, going fast on a vehicle or doing something else that is a bit kind of considered a bit unsafe, right? So you need to understand, when you do something, you need to understand the risks, and you need to be not blind to the risks. A lot of times, like for example, I have been blind. You need to understand what is important. If you really consider your life to be important, you need to actually act based on that. For example, a lot of times I have driven really, really fast, and I've just wondered, okay, wait, I drove fast, I'm glad that nothing happened. But then you shouldn't be like, just be like, I'm glad nothing happened. Like, that's just leaving it to chance. A lot of things are left to chance, that is true. It's not like you are in control all the time, but then you can control the damage if you are, say, riding slow. So I can drive slow and I can actually influence and ensure that in case I have an injury because something went wrong, the injury is pretty low. The impact of the injury is pretty low, right? So that's the thing. So we forget, a lot of times we forget the kind of risks we are taking, the kind of compromises we are making. You can't compromise on the safety of yourself and your loved ones or anyone, right? Generally, you can't compromise on anyone's safety generally like that. You need to understand what is important. You, your life, your loved ones, people in general, other people in general. You can't go around, first of all, like injuring other people also. You will be legally held and you will be put in prison if you actually just go make an accident, right? And probably even injure them really bad that you just end up in prison. So you need to understand that the kind of safety measures you're taking, the risks you're taking, and the kind of chances you're taking, and is it worth it? For example, you're driving really fast to get to some place because you're late. Well, your life is more important. If you lose the life, you can't reach the place at all, right? Or if you get injured and you have a bad injury, it's just going to take a lot of time, effort, and money to actually cure that. You would rather prevent the injury, right, and end up being late. It's fine. If you want it to be early, you better start early. There are a lot of road signs which say be early, be punctual, and not late, and drive because being late makes you drive fast. So don't be late, be punctual, and drive slow is what it says. That road signs on Bangalore, in Bangalore, they just say that, right? Because a lot of people in Bangalore, like because of the traffic, people are always trying to drive fast, right? Because they're just frustrated with the traffic because they have to wait a lot of time in traffic, in signals and whatnot, and then they're like, hey, I need to get home fast, I need to get to the office fast, I'm bored of driving for so long, I'm tired of driving for so long, I'm frustrated of driving for so long, I am pissed of driving for so long. I'm pissed that I have to honk, or I'm pissed that I hear a lot of honks. I'm pissed that it's so crowded and there's a lot of traffic and the road is so crowded and whatnot. Like, people have a lot of frustrations. Well, you need to understand how to actually deal with it, either by avoiding it or understanding on how to face it, right? Instead of just trying to drive fast and ending up in a situation where you actually compromise on your safety and others' safety, right? Which is not good for you, and it's not good for them also, for the others also. And there are a lot of similar stuff, right? Like, even if you drive slow and all, right, I've seen people, for example, not wear helmets, right? They think nothing will happen, right? The rider, the pillion, sometimes both of them are not wearing helmets, or one of them is not wearing helmet, like either the rider or the pillion, right? So, and then sometimes a lot of people are going on a two-wheeler, which is meant usually for 2-3 people only max, 3 people only when there is one kid or whatever, right? Even that I wouldn't recommend. um, like, like, it's not a great idea to actually compromise in such things, because when you get into an accident without a helmet and all, I've usually heard that it's not a good idea. But then, of course, with helmets also, I've heard that because of helmet there was a lot of problem. But you really have to just do your research and study and understand. But usually it's important to wear a helmet, and wear a good helmet, right? Please wear a good helmet if you're actually um, trying to actually ride a two-wheeler, a motorcycle or a scooter, right? Just ride a just ride with a good helmet, right? A helmet that is actually probably expensive, but is really really strong, and actually a worth it helmet, which will actually be useful when there is an impact, when there is an accident, when there is some issue, right? So that your head is actually protected, right? And you wear it properly, and you get a good helmet which has a jaw, and not just protecting this part, but it should also protect the whole side of things, right? And wear the strap and keep it tight and all that. And multiple people go in motorcycles, like not just two or one, but 3, 4, 5 and all that, right? And people can fall off, right? Or the person who's riding a motorcycle might lose out on balance, or anything can happen, and when that happens, things go really bad. First, I think it's also illegal, even with helmets. If you're not wearing helmets, it's usually illegal in many places, many cities, many countries, many states, and all, right? So you better wear helmet for your own safety, your life. So, be kind to your own life and your own safety, to yourself, and ride safely. And don't be like very confident in your skills that nothing will happen, I drive safely. And in your confidence that I can drive safely even with like 3-4 people riding on my motorcycle and whatnot, right? You can lose balance, anything can happen, or other people might crash into you, and then things can go bad and whatnot. Understand the risks and what you're actually compromising, right? In case something goes bad, of course. If everything goes good, nothing to worry, right? But then that's not always the case. There is always some chance of things going bad, and there is no way of knowing how much is that chance. So it's just life. You can't really predict things. So the best thing you can do is actually just be safe as much as possible, right? So, for example, my dad keeps telling me, don't use the phone on the roads, right? And be mindful on the roads, and be active, and be vigilant, and be focused, right? Be present, don't be absent minded and all, right? Like when I'm walking on the road, for example, right? Or even driving, don't use phones while driving, please. Don't talk on the phone, focus on driving, right? If you want to talk on the phone, pull over, take your vehicle to the side of the road, stand in a place that is safe, make it park your vehicle in a place that is safe to park, and then be stationary, don't move and talk over the phone, right? So and safely like park your place and safely talk over the phone. So I have made this mistake a lot of times wherein I talk over the phone when I'm walking on the road. I'm not present or I'm sleepy when I'm walking on the road. It's actually a very very unsafe thing to do, right? You should not be so confident on your skills. A lot of people are like, I can talk on the phone and I can also walk on the road. I can multitask and I'll be safe, I'll be fine. Well, if right, really unfortunate situations, if something goes wrong, which is an unfortunate, very very unfortunate thing, which we all should be sorry for when unfortunate things happen. But if something bad happens, the thing is, it could have been and might have been avoided if you're not on the phone and if you're active and focused. Probably you could have avoided it, right? So you should always focus on how to make things safe and secure. Making things safe and secure for yourself and others is kind of an important thing, especially if you can control it. I would say totally control it. If you can avoid the phone call, avoid it, or take it in a place that is safe for you to take the call, right? And then take the call, pick up the call and whatnot. And like on roads, be present, don't be absent minded, be focused, take care of yourself and whatnot, right? So this is true even in like when you're traveling anywhere, right? There are many such examples. For example, you're traveling in a mountain, you're hiking or you're trekking or whatever, right? The difference is basically I've heard that hikes are just a few days or even just one day, right? 1 2 days or 3 days. Treks are usually longer, like I think a week or so or whatever, right? Or even longer. So when you're doing all that, it's dangerous situation. So you take all the measures, because usually hikes and treks are not for everyone, and depending on the situation and like depending on the the place that you're hiking on or trekking on, you might have to take more and more measures. Like if it's a foresty area and there's possibility of snakes, you have to take care of yourself. If there is if it's a forest area, there is a possibility of not just snakes coming up, but let's say elephants showing up, say wild elephants showing up, untamed elephants showing up, untamed animals showing up and causing problems to you and like hurting you probably. You should take care of yourself. Apparently people carry knives for this, right? They carry knives, they carry big sticks and whatnot. You might even find wild say dogs and all that. So you don't want to get hurt, so you take all the measures instead of saying I know how to take care of myself, and I know how to hike, trek, and I'm not going to take any safety measures. That's just not really courageous. That's just, one of my friends used to tell, that's just being stupid, right? That's just not being courageous. I used to think it's just being courageous and all, but then one of my friends, no, that's just stupid. I felt it's courageous because people are ready to die and whatnot. Well, yeah, I mean, fear helps you be alive. So I feel if you don't have fear, it's possible that you might die. Very possible, because you are not fearing death and you're not worried about it probably, and you're not trying to take care of the case where you might die, and like you're not taking care of your safety, then it's very possible that you'll die in a situation where you need to be safe. So then like in a hike, in a trek, whatever, right? So that's like the extreme scenario, yes. But it's important to take care of yourself and or take all the safety measures you can and implement all the safety measures you can, right? Because for example, I recently heard that Indian travel a travel content creator, travel person who is a traveler, vlogger, basically video logger and all, travel enthusiast and all. She basically actually fell off a cliff, right? A gorge, they called it. I think it's a waterfall, and she fell off the tip, the edge, right? I don't know how it happened, but usually my dad tells me about how I need to be careful about heights and from where I'm doing my YouTube videos. Sometimes I've walked on footpaths or very rarely on roads, which is very, very unsafe. Walking on roads and doing videos, right? And I've walked on even like high speed roads. I didn't even realize, only after taking the video, I was like, wait, what if something just hit me, right? I should be more careful, right? And I was like, this is not a very safe place to take videos. I realized it only after taking the video, and I was like, okay, I should probably just focus on the road and walk, right? And I was walking on the side of the road, but still, right, if I'm more focused, there is less possibility of injury and accidents, right? So because a lot of people are driving crazily, a lot of people are driving like rashly and whatnot. So rash driving is very common. That this time when I was recording a video and walking on the road, after I was done or before I was starting to record the video, I noticed someone who was watching their phone and riding the vehicle, right? And I was walking opposite to the traffic, so the direction of the traffic. So basically, if I'm walking straight, the other vehicles are coming towards me, and I can see this person is actually watching, like looking at their phone at times and then looking at the road sometimes, right? And they're riding their motorcycle, that scooter, with one hand. And I'm like, if they, by mistake lose their balance and turn towards my side, they will just come and crash at me, right? And I'll just be just like clueless on what to do, because that's the end of the road. And I think there was some fence over there on my right side, and the left side was the road. I can't move further away on the right. I could probably move on the left, but then there are other vehicles also coming up. So depending on what happens, I need to quickly make a decision. So if I'm actually taking a video, what the hell will I do if they come suddenly at me? I'll just be shocked, and I'll just be still, standing still, and they'll just come crash at me in no time. Like it'll just be a split second or so, right? So it's important to understand the kind of risks that you're taking, and be clear about the safety measures you need to take to actually be safe and to protect your life and others' lives and your loved ones and all that, right? Understand what you are betting on, right? And no matter what you're betting on, your skills, your confidence, and all, it's always great to actually take care of yourself with all the safety measures, instead of just blindly depending on your self confidence and betting on that, because there is a lot at stake if you really care for your life and love your life, and if your life is really um, like very important for you, and I'm sure your life is very important for others, and for me, for others, anyone, the whole world. Then, and I really want you to believe that your life is very important to you. In case you don't, uh, well, take care of yourself, and don't don't do any actions that are not aligned with your safety, and that don't make sense when it comes to your safety, right? And that compromise your safety. There is a lot at stake, is what I'm saying. There is a lot at stake. uh, your life and others' safety, your safety, it's all very important. So there's a lot at stake. So take a lot of safety measures and don't just blindly depend on your skills and whatnot. For example, um, my dad also tells me, don't take videos on like roads is one thing. Don't take videos in a place that is very dangerous, because he keeps telling me how there are news, like I've also seen some news recently and before also, and he sees a lot of news. He checks out news almost every day, almost every moment, I think. So he knows a lot of things that's going on in the world than me, for sure. And he tells me how someone actually died because they fell off an edge, they fell off a cliff, they fell off a mountain, they fell off a train because they were recording on the train, or something like that, right? So this person, this travel blogger that I was talking about, I think, or I don't know what she was doing at the edge, right? She was probably taking a video, or she was just probably checking out the place, or she was just trying to be, I don't know, adventurous, and trying to go to the end and just probably standing and watching the place, whatever, right? I'm scared of heights actually, so I wouldn't really dare to actually go to the edge of some place and just stand and watch. But I know a lot of people who are like, who go to the top of the building and stand at the edge and be like, this view is great. And I'm like, dude, just get down, right? But they have the confidence in themselves that they can actually stand and not fall off, right? They are like confident in their skills, they are courageous, they are like, I'm not scared, and they are confident that, my legs are very strong or whatever, and I know that I won't fall and whatever. But the thing is this, right? There is always chance, is what I say. I mean, I understand that probability is pretty low, but then if that probability comes true, becomes true, like let's say the probability is 0.000000000 many zeros and 1%, right? 0.00001%, okay? Lot of zeros. Let's just put hundreds, thousands, millions of zeros, or trillions, whatever, right? Billions, trillions, zillions of zeros, right? The thing is this, right? If that probability does become true, then what happens? For example, someone is standing at the edge of a tall building, right? And if they slip, they fall off. But they are confident that they will not slip, and they have no safety measure. Now, what is the possibility that they'll die? Probably very low. But how will that happen? What is the probability that they'll slip and die, or just slip, let's just say, and get hurt or die or whatever, right? What is the probability that they'll slip? Very low, assuming, let's just say, they are a very skilled, trained person, they have a lot of skills, they are very healthy, they are very strong, whatever, right? Their body is strong, they are very fit, and they are also courageous to stand at the edge of the tall building and whatnot, say Burj Khalifa, whatever, right? Or some tall building, some tall structure, right? And now, how can they even slip, right? Anything can happen. You cannot predict life, right? For example, they have a twitch, for example, in their leg or in their hand or in the body, that caused them to suddenly slip, right? There was a lot of wind, so much wind, so strong that it pushed them. Anything can happen. They might fall out of the building or inside the building or whatever, right? Like, but they can slip, right? So anything can happen. Though you have a lot of confidence in your body, anything can happen. Biology, chemistry, anything. Like, suddenly your body suddenly has a twitch. Let's say you have never had a twitch, but then you have a twitch that day, that moment. That's that thing that can happen. That's the unfortunate thing that can happen. That will cause you to fall, and that will cause you to, be in a situation that you never expected. And that's what life is a lot of times you can't expect it, right? You can't predict it, you can't expect or predict what's going to happen, right? So the best thing you can do is always implement safety measures, right? So instead of like blindly being like, I know that I'm strong, I won't fall off this edge, and I'm also very courageous, you just tie up yourself with some rope and tie. Let's say you're making a video and and you need to do this. Let's say it's your job, you're a stuntman and it's a movie. I'm sure stuntmen would be having safety measures, and if they don't, I don't know why, but if they do, they will be probably tied up to something before they get on some tall building or whatever, or they'll ensure that if they fall off, the other side has something to protect them and whatnot. So they'll ensure all of that, right? I don't think people will give it a chance, and if they do, and if something unfortunate happens, that would just be really bad, right? Like I said. So yeah, I mean, I understand confidence. For example, you're driving your two-wheeler, or your car, you're like very confident. Suddenly your leg aches, or suddenly something happens. Suddenly some dust gets into your eye. You're driving your two-wheeler. You don't have a helmet, or you have a helmet, but the visor is open and some dust comes in, or your eye twitches, or suddenly you get dizzy headed, suddenly you're not able to drive. Like, anything can happen, right? But then you need to ensure that at least to some extent you can be safe, right? If you're driving really, really fast, it's going to be really, really bad. The impact is going to be really, really bad. But if you're driving slow or at an okay speed, the impact is going to be like okayish, right? So I would say it's always a good idea to actually take safety measures. For example, driving slow or at the right speed and not too fast and not too slow. Because sometimes I think in some places too slow is actually illegal because you're driving on a lane that is supposed to be a minimum speed, right? So yeah, I mean, just ensure that you take safety measures and just don't just blindly depend on your confidence. There might be a lot at stake. For example, your life, your loved ones' lives, others' lives, others' safety, basically, and your safety. So understand what is at stake and take safety measures, and don't always just depend on your self confidence and your confidence, and and your skills or whatever, right? So anything can go wrong, and there are just unfortunate times when things go wrong, but then don't let the unfortunate times create a larger impact than necessary, right? So yeah, that's all I had for this video, talking about people's confidence and how it can affect their safety. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.